All right, all right, all right. Carnivore Soldier coming at you from Austin, Texas. You made it another week. It's Wednesday. It's Hump Day, and this is the Hump Day Meetup. Today, we've got a couple great guests coming in, 3 guests, and we'll be talking about embracing the suck of the carnivore diet. So first, let me bring some people on. I'm going to bring on the first guest, which is Anthony Stewart. Hey, welcome, Anthony.
Thanks for having me, Larry. Awesome.
Go ahead and introduce yourself, Anthony. Where you're from, what you're all about, how long you've been a carnivore.
Well, my name is Anthony Stewart. I live in White Rock, British Columbia, which is just a little bit out of Vancouver in BC, up in Canada. I've been animal-based for about 2.5, animal-based carnivore, 100% carnivore at times, for about 2.5 years now. And I started a YouTube channel basically to try and not only document my arguably miraculous transitions when it comes to my health, but my physical composition, my energy. So I started this sort of just to document it, and it's kind of grown from there. And now I'm still finding amazing things, that are just still popping up almost, every week, something new I realize that's happened since I've decided to go this way. And that's basically it. And I'm here. Thanks for having me on, Larry.
Yeah, cool, man. All right, let's bring Kat on. Katerina, a lot of you guys know her. She's Meat Fueled Living. Kat, go ahead and introduce yourself to the new people.
Well, yeah, like you said, my name is Katerina. I am a U.S. Army veteran. I'm currently living in the state of Texas. I just started the carnivore journey in July. So I am a new carnivore, but I was a whole food, plant-based vegan for basically the 13 years prior to that. As Anthony said, the literal turnaround in days that I experienced in just this myriad of health conditions from switching over to the carnivore diet is nothing short of, his words, miraculous. And I also started a YouTube channel initially to hold myself accountable for family and friends that might be watching, and then to get the word out, because I was convinced that there were other people just like me, other women my age, other people my age going through the same thing, and they needed to hear this story.
Awesome. Hey, anybody watching this, if you want to post a question, we're glad to answer it. It'll go around the table. And also Carnivore Backwoods will be joining us. He's right now interviewing former fat girl, and she's another veteran. She's an Air Force vet, by the way. So hopefully I'll be getting her and Kat on my Mission Carnivore interviews pretty soon. So I want to get some female perspective, because all I got is a bunch of guys. I want to have some females on here. Get both sides of the story here. I know you are. I know you're busy right now, so we'll get you in. So if you have any questions, though, QQQ will make us find it easier, right? So make sure you do that. Okay, so today's topic that we're going to discuss is embracing the suck, because let me tell you what, starting carnivore is a big change, and it does suck at first. So if you haven't done it, or if you've done it and failed, join the crowd. Okay. That's the way it is. I'm going to start with this video. I saw a video of a young buck here, this young guy that had actually said he was going to do it for a week. Well, first off, you can't do carnivore for a week because you're not even fat adapted until probably 6 to 8 weeks. So,
well, at least, I mean, it can take a lot.
Yeah, at least it could be 90 days, right? Yeah. 90 days is when you know you pretty much are.
Yeah.
So that was his first mistake. Second mistake is he stuck on it for 3 days and quit. So let's show the video here. Let's just do a show and tell. All right. So here's his video, how it starts.
Carnivore diet sucks,
but not in the way that you might think.
If you thought being a vegan was hard, where the only thing you can eat is anything but meat, imagine doing the exact opposite. There are a lot of influencers out there.
Oh my gosh, it's so terrible. It's the opposite. So anyway, that my opinion on this, I'm going to start and just say, the guy is not going to get very far in life if he can't get past 3 days of eating meat. And it sucks, and it's simple, but it's not difficult or hard. I mean, you just got to get past that. It's just that people don't like being, people don't like being made
in your toilet.
People don't like being uncomfortable. Yeah, people don't like being uncomfortable, and he's just being uncomfortable. And I think that generation is not, they're used to convenience and comfort.
Well,
and if you remove convenience and or comfort,
right?
Yeah. What do you think, Anthony?
Well, I mean, it's kind of hard for me because I actually loved it. Like when I've always loved, I've been a steak and potatoes kid. Like I argued with my mom to eat vegetables. And it took me a long time. Like my grandmother used to like make me a little side dish with cucumber and carrots and tell my mom that I'd be fine one day and don't worry about it. It's just a phase. And I did. I started eating vegetables because I thought they were healthy. I thought, I'm going to have to suck it up and eat vegetables. So I was kind of on the other side of embracing the suck. I was like forcing myself to consume these plants when all I loved steak. That was my favorite food. So when I kind of went low carb and realized that, what? I can just eat beef? And, the one embrace the suck for me was eggs, because I didn't eat eggs till I was 44, and I chose to eat them because I knew the value of the nutritious side of the eggs. So that was where I was like, you know what? Suck it up and do it. And I love eggs now. So I don't know, 3 days, not going to get you too much. It's not going to answer any questions. It's not going to test your mettle. And, that's one way of looking at it. I mean, it's pretty easy just to give up, but I love it.
Oh yeah. Yeah, me too. What do you think, Kat? Embrace the suck. You've been Army. I was Army. We know what that means. Tell me what you think.
Well, for me, I mean, day 3, I was still turning green, even looking at meat, having been a vegan for so long. I think I told you that when I went to go buy it at Sam's Club, I was like throwing it in the car, And so I hadn't even started getting sick. That was a few days later after that. So I can't, I still, like I said, I was still nauseous just even smelling it cooking. So I should have quit it on day 1 if it was going to be like that.
But you made it.
I did.
Yep.
I did it.
You embraced the suck. And that's the cool thing is every one of us here went through our own suck that we embraced. And that's what we have, like this brotherhood, sisterhood thing going on. It's not much different than anything else that's hard in life, being on a team, being in the military. If you've actually gone through the trenches with somebody in the same, walked a mile in their shoes, kind of, then, you can appreciate that and you respect them. So that's why they're here. That's why I invited these people here, because I respect them because they've walked in what I've done. So, okay, we got a couple comments. I'm going to go ahead and share them. Let's see. Keebla did the same. LOL, started posting updates on TikTok. So this is the accountability thing, I think, that he's talking about. During my weight loss journey, started at 850 pounds, down to 510 today. Man, that's awesome. Legit. You lost a whole nother person, not just a little person, a big person.
Awesome.
Fasting and keto, and finally transitioned to carnivore. Welcome, man.
Well done.
Hey, Keebla, I would love if you just keep in touch with us and let us know how you keep doing, because that's an awesome story. That's
what people need to hear. Like, that's the kind of impact that, like, this, and it's a lot of people, like, when we're saying embracing the suck, like I talk to people and they just don't understand the power that that it's possible. And that, man, that is inspiring to say the least.
Amazing. I mean, that's completely saved his life, because at 850 you didn't have very long to go, I'm sure. And I mean, I'm sure you're still going through a lot, but looking at guys like Intentional Carnivore, like Sean, who lost that kind of weight, although he was much lighter. But I mean, I've seen people do it, and I know you're on the path, man. Just keep driving on that path. It's going to get you there.
That's crazy. That's amazing, man.
That's a great story. Thanks for watching, and thanks for commenting.
Yes.
People that share like that, that's huge. That makes a big difference when other people can see that there is success out there, right?
Absolutely.
All right, Denise Despress. Do you think elements, potassium, magnesium, are really needed? People did not have this centuries ago. Well, so my answer on this, I'll let you guys answer after I do, but centuries ago, people didn't have the standard American diet that basically got them their metabolic health so bad that you have to pee all this stuff out, because when you start losing, you wouldn't have had all this fat and basically when you start peeing when you start losing the water weight, because you're totally inflamed. People weren't walking around inflamed like we are now. And when you start losing the inflammation, losing the fat, you pee it out at a rate that's not normal. So you do need potassium and magnesium. Now, normally back in the day, hundreds of years ago, people drank stream water that was unfiltered, that had minerals, So you would get a lot of that stuff in there, but also you wouldn't pee abnormally. Now, I don't take any potassium or magnesium now because I've been on for 100 and almost 200 days, I think. For the first 5 months, I did. And then, 4 months I did potassium, the magnesium. I did a little beyond that, but I don't do anything at all now. So I think once your body normalizes, and I'm going to ask you guys too, because you've been on it for a while, I don't need that anymore. What do you think, Anthony? Do you need any of those still?
Well, do you think elements like are needed? Absolutely, they're needed. Like, but it's where you get them from and how your body is metabolizing, and how your hydration levels are. Like, I still supplement potassium and magnesium, basically because it's more of a cover my ass kind of thing. So I know that I can't always afford to eat like the best quality beef. And that's where I sort of I gauge the, obviously not eating carbohydrates. We don't hold water, so the salt becomes a different thing. But the potassium and magnesium, I know for a fact, the magnesium in almost every food is completely depleted compared to even 40 years ago. And
Right.
potassium is one of those things that are it's like. Electrolytes, I think, are like, it's almost like a dance to what you do. I mean, if you're an athlete that's exerting themselves and losing a lot of water in the hot sun, I mean, depending on what your diet is like, that's the context. And I think, I think eating a carnivore diet and eating actually meat and fat, your requirements become way less because I think your body uses them better. You become more efficient at what you can use. But I mean, that's the trick. I mean, I know I've heard of a lot of animal-based people getting into a little bit of trouble with electrolytes because they are so, it's a subject there's a lot of debate about.
Well, now you do a very physical job daily too.
Yes.
So you sweat a lot more than I do because I sit on the chair quite a bit. I do my walking, and I just started running again for the first time since my injury in 2017. I ran a mile for the first time since 2017. I thought I would never run again. And my ankle is healed up enough where I can actually run. And it's amazing. I mean, that's the kind of stuff that can happen.
Yeah.
So you sweat a lot more than I do. So if I was sweating on a daily basis, I would be taking electrolytes.
And I actually find that too. Like if I have I know basically like if my work day is going to be crazy, like I carry salt in my bag now. I always have a little bit of salt, and I talk to people about cramps, and cramps are usually, especially if you're eating meat and fat, usually are minerals. It's not necessarily the water because it becomes different. A lot of people like drink so much water that they're actually don't realize how the minerals are flushing out. So I'm more of a I cover my sort of ass to speak. And then if I start to cramp, I just go down the list and go salt first, potassium, and it happens fast. Like if you get a calf cramp or something physically, supplementing with that stuff. And I mean, some people drink the drinks. I'm not a big fan, but I mean, it's to each his own, really.
I do salt and magnesium. I do have magnesium in case I get a cramp, and it happens every now and then. It's very rare though. What about you, Kat?
So for me, and I think that she may have been referring to Element, the brand.
I think so.
Oh, okay. Yes. Yeah.
And actually, I did and still do occasionally use Element. For me, in the beginning, it was necessary because I was peeing out all of that water and everything, and I was feeling like crap.
Yeah. Right.
And I was getting leg cramps really bad. And it would be almost instantaneous. I would drink one of those and it would go away.
Yeah.
And it's also kind of a little bit of a Russian roulette you got to play there because if you drink too much, you're in the bathroom. And so it's hard to know, are you in the bathroom because of that or because of switching to the diet? But I was doing upwards to 3 glasses of those a day initially because I also live in Texas. And if you walk to your car in Texas, you sweat to death. I'm down to 1 a day now. I still do it because I still suffer from maybe a little bit of like calf tenderness in one of my legs. And I suspect that it is still not getting enough electrolytes. But whether you get them from making your own or buying an expensive brand and giving your money to them, that's a preference I think that you have to make. But I personally needed them. And if I would have known how to make my own, I would have done that. But
so
the convenience of throwing those packets in my purse.
Yeah, for sure. I think Element, to be honest with you, like I have nothing against Element. Like as far as, you know, it's one of those things with everybody. I think everybody's different. Their lives are different. Their lives are different. Their metabolic, their diet's different when they eat. All those things I think are a big deal. And I honestly believe, like in my opinion, that electrolytes are probably a good thing to not be deficient in, as opposed to maybe a little bit more is probably if you're healthy. I mean, there's potassium. Everybody talks about potassium dangerous for your heart. And I think there's a lot of context there. There's a lot of gray. But I think to have your electrolytes, especially when you're starting out, it can be a little tricky.
Yeah, and I use salt. That's all I use. Salt and magnesium. I didn't use any of those. I did try. Someone gave me some Relight, which is a cheaper version of Element.
Yeah.
You want to look, if you can't afford Element and you want that, you can go to Relight, Relyte, I think it is. And you got it there. That is.
To be honest, no. I just take my potassium and potassium citrate, and it's just they're horrible chalky pills, but that's all they are. They're 99 milligrams, and I mean, if you look at the RDA for potassium, I think it's 4,700 milligrams, which I think Dr. Berg says that you need to eat 7 to 10 cups of vegetables a day, and I know that changes when you're animal based. But I mean, I think it's one of those things everybody's got to sort of feel that one out. And I mean, some people
you don't have the anti-nutrients that plants present, and that's so you don't need as much. That's the other thing. So you don't need as many. You don't need these phytonutrients and these antioxidants and these things that plants present, because your food actually is better quality. So you don't have anti-nutrients going on. So the RDA is all set for a standard American diet. Yeah, exactly. It doesn't apply to a carnivore exactly like that. It's not at all. So,
and that's a lot of people that I've sort of coached and helped. It's very contextual, and I think, like Kat said, like your situation, you kind of whatever works for you, I think is what you got to do. But you got to make sure that you're on it for sure.
So Michelle Dowd said, this is about the kid. He quit on probably the hardest day. I agree. You just need to push a few more days and get all the carbs and sugar out of his system. Agreed. And the way he quit, I watched it. He ate fruit right away and started eating sugar. Oh, and he felt better. Hard to believe.
Immediately.
Yeah, you're gonna feel better.
I wonder how he would do.
If you're in heroin withdrawal and you shoot up, you're gonna feel great.
Great.
If you're in alcohol detox and you drink a bourbon, you're gonna feel fantastic right when you do it. but that's the problem, right?
That's it.
I mean, for sure. Let's see. We got some more in here. I'm trying to scroll through. What did you guys struggle with most when you first went? Anthony, go ahead and you started. When you first started, what was your biggest struggle? The hardest thing you had that you didn't like, I get the most when you first started, if you can remember back.
To be honest with you, the hardest thing for me was thinking I was eating too much, because I was like just hammering back meat, and I was like, this is not right. Like, because all of our lives were programmed to just, eat this much. And, like I was at the time counting macros and counting my protein and carbs and fat. And it's like, it was really, really counterintuitive to like be. And when I first went carnivore, like actually tried it, I was like, how is my body putting away this much meat and fat? And it was insane. I can eat a lot anyway, and I kind of eat only one meal a day now for the most part. But it was really, really weird, because I was just, listening to my body saying, you need more. And it was weird. Like, that was a really hard thing, because I was like, how is this possible? But, I've now gotten to the point where that was probably the best thing in the world, because I eat intuitively now. My body says I'm done, and it's time to stop. And I think that was the hardest thing for me, for sure.
I mean, I think I know what Kat's was, being a vegan going to meat, but why don't you tell me?
That's exactly. For me, the hardest part was that it was just looking at the meat, smelling the meat, touching the meat, cooking it, any of that, eating it. It was horrible for me. that took several days. And honestly, the only thing that I could really eat was hamburger. And I don't know why, because it smelled horrible cooking, but I at least could do that. Anything else, I couldn't chew it and swallow it. And then I would think the next worst thing for me was being so sick. My body wasn't used to eating meat. And then I was in the bathroom. I didn't have the electrolyte situation figured out. I was sick all the time, but I wasn't going to give up because it wasn't going to be any worse than what I was already living through.
Yeah, for sure. Well, that's
right. So we got a comment here from Craig Kuntz, and that's iodine is also missing in most foods. And that's true. Because the iodine comes usually from the coastal areas where animals are grazing. You don't know where your cows are grazing or what they're grazing on. So you don't know if you're getting enough iodine, or if you eat fish or, shellfish will have iodine. So it's always good to supplement.
Sea salt too, in Himalayan pink salt. I think that's what actually makes it pink. Might be.
Yeah. So it's always good to supplement though. So I use the dropper with the Ludens, I think it is, the iodine, and I put 2 drops in. And here's a tip, guys. Iodine tastes terrible. It does. You can put it in coffee, or if you're not a coffee drinker, you can put it in sparkling water and you won't taste it at all.
Oh, that's cool.
The bubbling totally masks it. You taste like just regular Topo Chico with 2 drops. Tastes like Topo Chico with no drops.
Especially the twist of lime Topo Chico.
Oh, I don't do the twist of lime, but I mean, if you do, I just like it plain. I like bubbly water, so I'm not.
I think, to be honest with you, I think a lot of minerals are in our food. Like that's a really good point. I mean, it's not just iodine. I think a lot of the trace minerals, and I mean, when you look at some of the podcasts about the soil quality, and that, I'm sorry, but it's from animals. Like, we need animals. We need the circle of life to do it. And I think that damaging our soil for anything is horrible.
Yeah, and the cows and animals have salt licks. I don't know if you guys have heard of a salt lick, but we have a barbecue place out here called Salt Lick. But the cows actually get their minerals into their body by licking salt. I mean, it's pretty normal. It's a natural thing. Okay, we got another one. How would the carnivore diet affect someone with no gallbladder, I wonder? It actually does work well. There's several doctors on YouTube that have addressed this directly. I know Dr. Chafee has. And also Dr. Berry has, that you can do it with no gallbladder. And I know people personally who do it with no gallbladder.
Yeah,
so
I mean, I think a lot of it has to do with your bile function, right? And if you can keep it like a detergent and not really sluggish, I think you got a better shot. But I mean, that is probably a question for more.
So what happens is the gallbladder stores bile that the liver makes, and the liver can make a certain amount per 24-hour period. Okay.
Yeah.
Now, if you don't have a gallbladder, you can actually, there is like where it can, I forget what they call it, but it can make a little pocket that holds some of that. Okay. That sometimes happens when they take your gallbladder out, where you still have extra bile. Yeah. Other than that, if you slowly adjust to eating fats, your liver will upstage and basically make more bile faster. But you will get to a point where you can't make any more bile. Yeah. And that's when you have to limit your fat intake. You'll know right away because it'll start coming out at the wrong end. So your fat will. And then the other thing you can do, they can take ox bile if they want to. But,
for sure.
So that would be something that it does work though. And you got to learn your body and figure out how it works. That's what you have to do. What did you have to say, Anthony?
No, I just, bile salts, ox bile, like that would be, for sure, to help for sure.
All right. Let's see. What about you? Did you have anything you want to add to that, Kat?
No, I do know. I think it was Dr. Berry that I watched had a video about doing it without a gallbladder. And I have heard that you just need to maybe eat a little less fat or just kind of go a little slower, and but that it can be done. I just don't have any experience with that because I still have my gallbladder. So
yeah, me too. But Dr. Chafee said that, and I know people that are on it that don't though. So, and Dr. Chafee said that if you, over time, your liver will get better at making, it'll start learning the new cycle, saying, okay, we're having more fat come in on a regular basis. So we got to up our production here of bile.
And, building resilience in a good way.
Yeah, exactly. All right. So Keebla, thanks. All the goal is to get to 180.
Right on.
340 down, 330 left to go. That's great, man. Starting off is the hardest part. Yeah. So I'm going to say that starting was the hardest part. The first 30 days was the hardest part. And then every day gets easier to stay on it, I think. Once you get your new, because what happens, I talk about this in my resilience training, is you get new, you basically set your why and then set goals to get to that why. The why has to be big. It can't just be losing 15 pounds because you'll quit, or can't be doing it for a week like this kid was doing because he quits immediately, because that's not a big why, right? Just to find out what happens. If you set a big why, like, yeah, if you set a big why, like I want to be there for my daughter's wedding or whatever, you know, I want to be there to hold my grandchild one day, whatever. I mean, it's huge whys, right? I don't want to be a burden to my kids, you know, when I get older, that kind of stuff. Those are big whys. And then you set goals around that, and then you start setting activities to get those goals, and those activities become your new habits, and they become your character. And that's what he's doing here. So once you get past that 60-day point, you start building your character of resilience.
The magic starts happening, and you're going to find that it's find the craziest things. I mean, I talk to people that don't exercise, but as soon as they start to feel good, look what happens. Their exercise just kind of keeps getting more and more, and then all of a sudden they're let's go to the gym, and that was never the intention, and it's awesome, especially when you start to feel good. I think that's the most important thing, to be honest with you, is I can't even tell people how good I feel waking up in the morning every day. And I try and describe it. And actually it was somebody that I was coaching, that it's like you feel like you're a kid again. You're alive and you're waking up and feeling great. And that was something that didn't happen for me for decades of my life. Yeah. I mean, I'm 48, and I was 44 years old when I first started this journey. And I was at the point where I was like, I can't lift my arm over my shoulder. I can't run up the stairs. I'm gasping for air. I'm in pain. And now all of these things have been like, the whys have just built on because I've been able to do it. And feeling great it's priceless.
So Kat, you're at like that 90-day period somewhere in there. You're close, right? Are you past it? Yeah.
I started on the 18th of July.
Yeah, so you're there pretty much. So you're right where it's starting to get super easy now. It's like this is your new normal, right? We call it in the Army a battle rhythm. I think you've got your battle rhythm.
And like what Anthony was saying, I'm 50, and for the last 13 years, I've been miserable. I forgot what it felt like to feel good.
Yes.
And it does become a habit, because I just took a huge road trip, as I was telling you guys earlier. And what do you do when you go on a road trip? You go to the gas station, you get the soda, the candy, the junk, and you just eat
munchy time.
Because it's mindless, 16 hours of driving. I took a bag of bacon, a bag of beef jerky.
Yes.
I had some cheese. I didn't touch the cheese, but just in case, you never know, I might be bored. I took some, the Death Wish water and some coffee, and I barely snacked on it the whole way. I was never hungry.
Nice.
We went into the gas station, and I was surrounded by all these smells and stuff, but I didn't want any of it. I didn't even want the sweeteners in my coffee or all these comfort things that you would do on these long trips. And there was no desire whatsoever. So I've got to the point now where I don't want things.
That's totally empowering to have control of your addictions, because that's what I was like too. I was addicted, and I would go, even when it was Quest bars. When I was doing keto, I was addicted, and I thought I was eating clean. I was like, I'll get a Quest bar because that's keto, right? It's zero.
When the big marketing comes around and they start making their products, that there's something up, right? Like that. That's the thing.
So that's the difference between keto and carnivore for me. Is carnivore is actually clean, and that's same with Keeble. It looks like, because he said once he went carnivore, because he was keto first, I think, and he said it got a lot easier. The mood difference and the energy is huge. Exactly that. Dr. Chafee says for every 1% you deviate from a pure diet, you lose 10% of effectiveness. So if you lose 5%, if you go 5% dirty, you're only getting 50% of your a benefit that you could from the diet. And I agree with that completely. So I think that, Keeble's talking about once he went carnivore, his mood and energy level, it's huge. It's off the scale. And go ahead.
When I went carnivore, and I've said this before, is there was this the defining moment. I started keto, and a friend of mine that he was sort of training me at the gym said, all you need to do is eat beef and eggs. And I was like, I am 40 plus years old. There is no way I'm not eating vegetables. Like, no way.
Yeah.
This was imprinted in my brain.
Yeah.
Well, cut to when I decided, because I was on that like, what do I do fence? And I was like, well, I'm going to try this carnivore diet because it makes a hell of a lot more sense than going vegan, which that was kind of the crossroads, because I knew I was going to try and embrace the suck and do something a little hard. And when I went carnivore, because I'd already been low carb, the energy, but things just like amplified. Like, it was crazy. Within 30 days, I was getting abs. And I wasn't really working too hard. And this is something for me. I've always been like that stocky, short, kind of fat kid, not obese, but always. And now I've got abs at 48 years old, and it is 100% because of carnivore, because I've been eating meat and fat, for sure.
Okay, Charger Mopar, the 40-year carnivore, doesn't use salt and add electrolytes. And that's the thing. I think once you get your body into the new normal, unless you're doing some endurance stuff, you probably don't need to add salt. I know Dave Saunier, and he's on here. He does endurance rides where he rides 100-mile bike rides. He probably needs to add electrolytes. But any athlete would, even if you're on a standard American diet, you'd have to add sugar and electrolytes if you're doing that, if you're, So I think, I think that's great. Let's see. Wonderful answers. Thank you so much. I was thinking of the brand Element. Yes, I'm a nurse, so listening to my body. That is huge. Okay, so I want to jump off on this really quick. So listening to your body, this is a skill that you're going to have to learn, because if you've been on the standard American diet, your hunger signals are completely broken because they have you on an addiction cycle, and it's scientifically designed. Watch my video on the 13 ingredients in French fries from McDonald's, you'll see. So they've designed this diet to get you addicted, and it makes you always be hungry, always be eating. Just like Kat was talking about, when you're driving, you're always munching, munch all day long. And that's not normal. People and animals in the wild don't do that. They look at the
bliss point.
They do. They study the bliss point, and that sugar film talks
goal.
about it. That sugar film talks about the bliss point. So there's a bliss point. They actually scientifically get to the bliss point, and when they bring you to that point, you have to keep eating, and it's not your fault. It's by design. It's to make them the maximum amount of money. Yeah. So once you've gotten off, and it takes. Kat's right in that point now where she's at 90 days. That's about what it takes. Then you start understanding your hunger signals, and you can completely listen to them, and you understand what's an emotional trigger and what's actual hunger.
Exactly, yeah.
And then you start eating whenever you're hungry, eat until satiety, and you're eating high fat, high protein foods with zero carb or low carb. And that just works. So Denise, glad we could help with those answers. And I'm glad it makes sense to you. Dave Saunier says make your own. It's easy to do. There's a lot of recipes online to make your own if you don't feel like buying Element. And also there is the less expensive version, Relight, Lyte, I think it is, and that's on you can get that on Amazon. That's by
that's Redmond, isn't it? It's not.
What's that?
Isn't it Redmond?
Redmond makes it, but it's on Amazon. You can get it on Amazon. It's Redmond salt, All right. Let's see, Dave Saunier. That's why I love carnivore. Just eat meat, repeat. Don't worry about macros. That's the thing. That's the other thing I hated about keto was I was like counting my macros just to make sure I was getting not too many carbs. And in this, you just eat to satiety. You stop when you're full, And
that's funny because people look at me and go, well, are you crazy? You haven't eaten? Like today, I had yoga this morning. I went to work all day. I'm going actually to a yoga class after this. I haven't eaten. I'm fasting today because I was just like, I do this every once in a while, but it's my energy is fine. Like 100% I'm not hungry at all. I could eat right now, but if I did eat, I would eat until the satiety signals. And it's so liberating not being controlled by your next meal, your next break, your next gas station, it's wild. And that's something like that. The new people, the new carnivores that are just starting out, like this just gets easier and better. And you start to you get into your groove, and then you run the show. And that's amazing.
I mean, for me, it was going to the movie theater without popcorn and a Diet Coke was so weird.
Yeah.
It was hard at
thing.
first. Yeah. And now I just go with the water, and I just drink. I buy water there. And I used to, when I first started, I had to replace the popcorn or something. So I made pork belly bites in an air fryer, and I put it in a Ziploc bag and throw in my cargo pocket, and I buy water and I'd eat my pork belly bites. But now, and my son's the same way because he went carnivore too. He's 14. He did it on his own because he wanted to heal his foot. And he's, by the way, he's like, took 2 minutes off his 2 mile time running.
There you go.
I mean, and hit PRs and placed in races we've never placed before. So I mean, it's pretty awesome. But yeah. So now we just go to the movies. We just each get a water and watch it, and it's cool. So cool. But it was so weird, and stopping at a gas station and not going in to get a snack. That was like an instant reflex. Start the gas, walk in, and I don't.
Well, I did a lot of road trips for work, and Kat, the same thing. Like, I mean, I prepare I just make a bunch of steak or make a roast and like slice it up and just have it ready. But it's amazing how you just it happens. Like I used to go, like, everybody's been a little hangry. We all know what that feels like. And for when you first realize that you've been doing this long enough, and you're like, wait a second, that used to happen all the time, and now it doesn't. Yeah. Ever. That's really, really powerful.
So Keebla says one of the best parts of carnivore is being able to listen to your hunger cues and tell you when to stop. Oh, Duke's here. This is my dog, Duke, by the way. He's carnivore as well. Yep, that's true. And
my cat's in here somewhere.
Mia Moreno, love Salt Lick Rest. Nice. So I guess Mia, you must be in Texas. You talking about the Salt Lick barbecue? I'm assuming that's what I'm liking. I have no gallbladder and no issues transitioning. Suffered horribly eating veg and carbs. It's happy on meat and fat. Okay, that's interesting. And everyone's body's gonna be a little different. Sure. But if Mia, she obviously has no gallbladder and does it. So, and again, I know someone personally does too. So it can be done, and it's not that much different. It's just you have to. This is the other thing. You have to become the expert of your own body. You're going to become the subject matter.
That's actually important in a lot of things, you know? Like
and you're going to have to learn your weaknesses, your triggers. Like, okay, holidays are coming up, right? You're going to be going to holiday parties. What's your plan? Don't just go there and get tempted.
Pre-game. That's what I call it. I pre-game. I just eat what I normally do
before you walk out the door, right?
And it actually really works. And then, I'm at the point now where I know my sort of health is under control. My metabolism is under control. There's times where I look at things and go, this will be a test, but is it worth it? This is some kind of crazy thing that I haven't had for decades. I want to try it and eat, see what happens. And I'm at the point now where, it's most of the time I just go, no, it's not worth it. And it's pretty cool too.
Might be dangerous if you have your thyroid's dead. I don't know. You need to ask the doctor. I have no idea. That's
definitely a medical. I know iodine and thyroid go hand in hand. But you don't want to be. I
would ask a doctor or your doctor, but I'm not we can't give medical advice. I don't know about that. I know there's going to be iodine in your food, so you're going to get iodine anyway.
Because thyroxine, I think, it sounds like it's a hormone. So iodine, the supplement, like I know with the thyroid stimulating hormone and T3 and T4, it all has to do with converting iodine. So that's something that you might, it's kind of out of my, definitely out of my wheelhouse for sure. But I know it's related.
All right. Mia's got another one here. I wish I had carnivore before losing my gallbladder. That's okay. My brother's had his thyroid nuked out, and he wished he would have. Because I guarantee you, if you would have gone carnivore before that, he has Graves' disease. We probably would have managed it. A lot of these diseases that we see are.
Sure. Yeah, I wish I would have gone carnivore before a lot of things.
Yeah. I was pre-diabetic, and I mean, there you go, right there. This was one of the reasons why I started this stuff, and I had an argument with my doctor. My doctor told me that within probably 10 years, definitely 20, I will be type 2 diabetic and on all this. And I just refused. I was like, but I'm not eating sugar. And she was like, that has nothing to do with it. And that was my first like, something's wrong with this picture here. Like, I mean, I just learned what diabetes was, glucose, fasting insulin, all of it. And then my doctor was like, no, you're just gonna, and now look, I'm not definitely not pre-diabetic, and my hemoglobin A1C is a full 1.2 lower than it was when I was pre-diabetic. And it's like, well, what happened there? So all the people that are they get told that it's impossible. I think when you give your body what it needs, which is the right nutrition, the right food, things get crazy good.
Yeah, really. I mean, healing, like real healing.
Yeah.
Like I was saying, my ankle's healing, which I never thought I would run again. And I
that's
ran
awesome.
a mile this week, and it felt I'm completely out of shape.
Yeah,
And it was hard, but I didn't hurt.
I'm very aware of this
physically.
weekend how out of shape I
Yeah.
was.
I haven't run since 2017 when I injured it. Actually, 2016. And I had a profile from 2017 to 2019, which means in the Army, you can have a physical profile. It means you don't have to run. So I did a speed walk because I couldn't physically run.
Yeah.
And I thought I'd never run again in my life, other than I did some sprints and I could run very short distances. But now I did sprints and my ankle didn't hurt at all. And I thought, well, let me try it out. And I ran a mile and it didn't swell up. I wasn't limping. Normally, like an hour after, I'd be limping and like favoring it.
Chronic systemic inflammation. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
When you take a bite out of that one, craziness happens.
Yeah. Once you take your whole body's inflammation level down, all of a sudden it starts repairing everything. That's what I'm finding.
I also noticed, like, I have a way higher pain threshold. Like, it's just, I get, if like something kind of naggles me or I get tinged at work or something, like, I just heal fast. And that's most likely what it is. It's the inflammatory reaction isn't nearly as severe.
All right, guys. We got Carnivore Backwoods in the house. What's up, John?
Oh, I'm so sorry, bud. We got stuck on the live with Nicole. She should be popping in here to chat, but
Okay.
I apologize for being late, buddy.
No problem. We're just talking about, we're answering questions now, but we've been talking about embrace the suck, but getting past the first week or two and how everyone needs to do it. And everyone's going to be a little bit different, but once you get past it, pushing through it to day 30, 60, 90, and that's when everything starts changing completely. So, Gerard is starting the Dr. Chafee next week, eating until meat doesn't taste good anymore, going to use a 73-27 ground beef. That's a great way to go. I mean, if you stick to it and you really give it, your all. So what I did when I started mine, I like to say I did the Cortez thing and I burned the ships. I cleaned my pantry out. So there was no cheating. It was just going to be meat. And I did it because I said, hey, either this thing's going to work or it's not, but it's not going to be because I didn't put maximum effort in. It's going to be because it's a scam. And I'm going to test it by being 100% pure and see if it works. And it worked. So it's not a scam. If you do it right, if you do it strict, Gerard, you will see big differences.
Yeah.
Okay, let's go through the dairy thing. Anthony, why don't you start? We'll work with you and go to Kat and then down to John. Do you do dairy? And if so, how much and what kind?
I'm not opposed to dairy, but I think it's very kind of, it's one of those contextual things that it's, I don't necessarily think pasteurized, homogenized milk is probably that good. Whether it's bad or not, it does come, with some carbohydrates. So there might be some context there. If I drink milk, it's whole, not homogenized, so the fat chunks float in it. I mean, I was lactose intolerant for probably, through my 20s and 30s, and now I don't have a problem at all with any lactose. It's weird how that happened. I mean, I would eat butter and things would be just going right through me. So dairy, for me, if I could, because I know it's illegal in Canada, I'm not sure how it is in the States, but raw dairy is a big no-no, and I don't even know if we can share cows to buy a cow and do it that way, because I know that I've heard about that, but I would have no problem personally with raw dairy if I could get it. I do think fermented stuff is there's got to be some benefit somewhere, but I think it's all up to the person. And I mean, if some people do well on dairy, other people don't. I mean, I do believe it comes from animals, and I think it's a lot better than most of the stuff that's in our supermarket. So it's kind of up to you. I like really good cheese that's real, that's fermented proper. And I generally eat it like it's, I don't know, I don't even want to call it a condiment, but just kind of like little bits here and there. So I don't rely on it, but I do include it.
All right, Kat.
So I've had a little bit of a love-hate with dairy. I too was lactose intolerant growing up and could never have it. And if I did, I, was always sick. And then as a vegan, I didn't do that. But when I started to do the carnivore diet, I'm a huge coffee drinker still to this day. I know I probably shouldn't have as much as I do, but I always did those fake creamers, like the almond milk or whatever. So I love that in my coffee. And when I first switched to carnivore and I tried to do black coffee, even the flavored black coffee tasted horrible to me. So I started doing heavy cream. And weirdly, it didn't affect it's hard to say at first because everything made me sick, but even after that went away, I wasn't bothered by the heavy cream at all. However, I have a problem. I think I don't know when to stop. So that heavy cream became a second cup of heavy cream, came another heavy. And so then it was cheese, and then I started getting the headaches and all that kind of stuff back. So for me, I don't know if I did too much dairy. So I'm not against it. I love the taste of cheese and stuff, but I limit it to almost nothing right now because I don't know when to say enough is enough, I guess.
Yeah, your limitations, right? And that's part of what we're talking about, learning your body, becoming a subject matter expert. John?
Well, let me answer a couple different things on this. So homogenized, pasteurized, ultra pasteurized milk is absolutely horrible for your body. They take a product that's made, and if you looked at the fat molecules of milk under a microscope before it's homogenized, they're round little balls. They're like little bitty BBs, and your body can actually absorb that and process that. And the process of homogenizing milk, which is they literally take milk and they force it through a screen that's smaller than the size of your hair. It actually takes those milk goblets and turns them into little cylinders, and that's why you're lactose intolerant, is because your body can't deal with that goblet when it's been transformed like that. It superheats the process to do that, and that's why milk doesn't separate. So that's why you buy a gallon of milk, there's no cream on top. If you bought a real gallon of milk from that's been came off a cow, you're going to have a big amount of cream on the top. And so that's where sugar or lactose intolerant comes from, is because your body just can't handle it. My mom is lactose intolerant, but she can drink raw milk all day long, every day. It won't affect her in a bit, which also explains why you can drink heavy cream, because heavy cream doesn't have that same process. That's why it won't affect you like milk will. So there's just some things I wanted to throw out there, and I could bore you to death with that subject because I've been dealing with that for years. But the fact is I don't drink dairy or I don't drink milk, but I do have heavy whipping cream in my coffee. I do limit myself to 2 cups of coffee a day, and they're decent sized cups here. Where's my camera? There it is. So I do have my 2 cups of coffee every single morning. Only thing I put in is heavy cream. I do like regular cheese on my hamburgers. Occasionally we'll sprinkle some cheese on some eggs or something, but that's the extent of my dairy, of course, and butter. I consume a lot of butter.
Me too.
Yeah, me too.
So that's where we're at. But you have to understand, we're the only what's the word I'm looking for here? We're the only creature on the planet. Species. There's the word I'm looking for. We are the only species that drinks another species' milk.
Yeah.
Let me tell you, a fox will break into the hen house to eat chickens. A snake will break into the hen house to eat eggs, but nothing breaks into the dairy barn to drink milk.
Yep.
I like that. That's good.
I let my son drink whole milk because he's a kid, he's growing, and he likes it. So I and he's going to drink it with a steak, and I'll do that, but I don't drink it.
And it's not that there's not benefits to milk, because there is, especially when you're growing. But the problem is that real milk would be better for him because there's fat in there, and that fat he would be able to digest better.
Right. And then I do eat some hard cheeses every now and then, and occasionally I'll put cheese on a burger, but very, very rarely. Yeah. And not American cheese typically, because I don't think there's such thing as a real American cheese. I think that's a fake cheese they made up with seed oils and stuff. So
Yeah,
usually cheddar.
That's yellow dye, yellow dye, and garbage. I know some people that had lactose intolerant their whole entire life, through a kid all the way up to adulthood, before they realized that the reason that their bathroom was soft was because they were lactose intolerant. There's a lot of people that suffer from it and don't even know that they have lactose intolerant because of the way that milk is processed.
All right, guys, it's time to support a channel. I like to do this every Wednesday. This is Carnivore Transformer. He's from South Africa. He's a new YouTuber. Check out his channel and like and subscribe. And the reason I like to do this is because I think that, we need more. We need to support all these YouTube content creators so that people will get referred to their videos. And someone might totally, this guy's name's Graham. I know him personally, but someone might totally connect with him that wouldn't connect with me because I'm a military guy. They may think I'm a little too militaristic or something. Or, they may not like Kat because she has red hair. Who knows? Or they don't like Anthony's hat, whatever. So, but they might love Graham. So by liking and subscribing to another carnivore content creator, you're basically feeding the algorithm. And then when their videos come out, try to watch them right when they come out, because when you feed the algorithm, that will support those videos getting shared out to people. I like to share my story that, when I was 280 pounds and I wasn't carnivore, I was looking for how to install a part on my Jeep. And then I saw that crazy Dante Fregno video from Fregno Freedom. And because someone liked that video, it was served up to me. And that's what changed my life. So by doing this, you can change other people's lives. So check out Carnivore Transformer when you get a chance, guys.
Cool beans.
All right. That's all. I just wanted to do that one. Let's see. I'll close that. Embrace the suck. That's what we're talking about, John. Why don't you tell us about the hardest thing you had to overcome your first week on Carnivore? We've all done it here, so we're going to let you go ahead and do yours.
I don't know if it was the hardest thing to overcome. It was pretty soft, but the first couple of weeks was a purge. You lose a lot of water weight, and the funny thing is I don't think my wife ever had that problem. She didn't have that same purge as I did. We both started, on the same date, Carnivore. It wasn't like it was uncontrollable or it was like something, where, you had to run. But, you do lose a lot of weight, or you do lose a lot of water in the beginning when you stop, consuming carbohydrates. Go ahead.
Yeah. And we had talked about, we were asked about, electrolytes and magnesium, why you needed them. And that's because you're peeing out when you're losing that inflammation and dropping the fat, you're peeing a lot of water out and it flushes you out and you get diluted, which normally you wouldn't do hundreds of years ago because you never would have had the inflammation like you have now.
Well, there's a couple of things there. So, I mean, we used to drink out of streams and puddles, and you get you get a lot more minerals and stuff, from a spring. Like I get my water from a spring. It's coming directly out of the side of a hill. So I'm getting a lot of minerals and stuff that comes in my water. A lot of people have city water, or city water that's been treated, been filtered. Not to say that a filter is not good, because there's definitely reasons to filter water, but there's also a lot of stuff that's good in water that gets filtered out, that your body actually needs. So yeah, there's pluses and minuses to it.
So Mia just subbed to Carnivore Transformer. Great. Graham will really appreciate that. Let's see. We got Minimalist Carnivore in the house. Lost his gallbladder 3 months in. So it looks like he was 3 months into Carnivore and lost his gallbladder. But it was not from being on Carnivore. Okay. So it just happened to happen when he was on Carnivore. He was out of shape and started to be used. If you guys haven't checked out Minimalist Carnivore, and actually all the carnivores here too, they're content creators, make sure you check out and subscribe and like and check their videos out. Again, we're trying to get this message out to as many people as we can. This is a grassroots movement. I mean, everyone recognizes, if you don't recognize, you need to start looking into it, that, the FDA in America and whatever's in Canada and whatever's in Australia and Europe, it's all the same. The food and drug, basic, it's the industrial complex is running everything. And the only way we're going to change dietary guidelines and our food supply is from a grassroots effort. And we have to do that from the ground up. And this is how you do it. So liking and subscribing is actually driving that process. It's getting more and more people into this message that's out there so they can start questioning things like we are, right? Like, hey, why is it again that everyone's got diabetes now and we've had this food pyramid for 30 years? You know, it doesn't make sense. And cancer and all these other things. Okay, maintain purity.
One would think that if you just spent 40, 50 years of a diet system, that we should have some results from it by now, I would think.
We do.
Instead of everything going like this.
Yeah, I mean, this is the healthy eating after 40 or 50 years. I mean, somebody should be healthy, right? But you know, unfortunately, it's the complete opposite. So it's not a far stretch of the imagination to realize, I think we need to stop the bus and turn it around.
Yeah, we do have results. They're just not the good ones, right? We got the bad results.
And we're all the lunatics, the ones that are trying this extreme radical thing and feeling amazing.
Okay, raw farms sell raw dairy products in all states. So down here, on Canada, it's illegal, but up down here, you can find them local. I don't think they can cross state lines, but I think you can buy it locally. Also, I've had goat milk, and it's pretty good. It kind of has a little aftertaste of like goat cheese. And I understand that. Now, is that homogenized, John? Do you know?
What's that?
Goat milk? I don't know if it is, but it tastes great. And there's no lactose intolerance, I guess.
I would say not normally. It depends on where you're getting it from, but I would say that it might not be, but I'd have to look at it. And as for all, that's not 100% true. I know that in Nevada, you couldn't sell raw milk to anybody. You couldn't give raw milk away without violating the law.
Wow.
So
yeah, that's the milk thing. Let's see. Dave Saunier says Minimalist Carnivore, great channel. I agree. So when I started my carnivore journey, he was one of the channels I watched and loved his delivery and style. And actually, to be honest, when I started my carnivore journey, I was not even looking to be a YouTuber at all. I never ever thought I'd be. I don't know about you guys. I never thought I'd be a YouTuber. Never planned to. I just wanted to do carnivore, and then but the message is so strong.
Oh, come on, Larry. You know that was your life ambition right there, to be a YouTuber.
This YouTube channel has been around for 4 years because I shared home movies with my family, and then I'm a drone pilot, so I used to fly and do videos for realtors, and so I don't have any like public videos. And then I did also one video that my son shot, and when he was in a film school. For my shot of my dog, he made a little film and we posted on there. So the neighbor, the neighbors and the family members could see it. But so learning how to talk to a camera like this, which is so weird. Well, not anymore, but it was really weird when I started. Was completely alien to me, completely foreign. But yeah, but Minimalist Carnivore's got a great channel, got great delivery, good messaging, very clear and easy to follow. So. Let's see, and he's saying thanks. And oh, by the way, Minimalist Dave Saunier. He was interviewed by me. He's a veteran Navy Chief Petty Officer, and I interviewed him on my Mission Carnivore series, which is a series of videos that are dedicated to military veterans and first responders on carnivore. So Dave's one of the interviewees on that. He's a great guy. Okay, so I'm not seeing any other questions. You guys got any more questions? Go ahead. I'm just going to go ahead and really quick show you the video that I started this with one more time because it was kind of hilarious. But the guy, the kid the reason I got Embrace the Suck was because this guy here, let's see, share screen. All right. So we're going to rewind it here. This is the guy.
Diet sucks.
but not in the way that you might think.
You thought being a vegan was hard, where the only thing you can eat is anything but meat? Imagine doing the exact opposite. There are a lot of influential.
So this guy basically tried it for 3 days and quit because it sucked. So it's kind of funny. But I think it's indicative of what a lot of people, they want to have instant results without paying a price, right? And there's nothing in life that way. Everything you do in life that's going to matter is going to have a price. Being in the military, being an athlete, homesteading, raising children, having a career, all of it's going to have a price. And carnivore does have a price. But the good news is you get through it really quick. If this guy would have done 6 weeks, who knows what his life, I mean, at his age, he could be, you know, a superstar athlete or something. I mean, you never know. I mean, when they're young like that, I can't imagine what I would have been like if I would have found this in my 20s.
Me too.
Because I'm 57. I mean, I'm an old dude. You know, I started this when I was 56. And it's hard. I can't imagine. What do you guys think? Can you imagine what you would have been like if you started, Anthony?
No, because like that's the one thing that still blows my mind, and I really, really want to, like, you know, give people hugs and say this is not like, this is normal. Like what we think is normal is, you know, getting old, feeling like crap, putting on excess weight, getting, you know, these getting sick, and when this just turns around like complete 180, and it's so amazing, you know, and it's like, and people just don't. What do you mean? You can't just eat meat. That's the thing I get all the time. You can't just eat meat. And I am, and I've been doing it for 2.5 years, and this is not stopping, which is great, which is the craziest. You know, I feel better than I did when I was 25, which is unbelievable at 48 years old.
Yeah, I love those questions.
I mean, I'm 57. I feel like I look like I'm in my 40s. A lot of people tell me, and I feel like I'm in my 30s. This is literally my hot tub time machine. So, literally, I actually found it.
And we'll eat it.
All right, Kat, what do you think?
What do I think? Well, I tell you what, I'm 50, and like I said before, I forgot what it felt like to feel good. And that's why I started my YouTube channel. One of the reasons was because I want to be able to tell somebody younger than me that they can do this, because if I would have been doing this when I was in the Army, I would have been like the high speed, you know, or, you know, in my 20s, I would have just been all that and a bag of snacks. And it just makes sometimes me very frustrated that I didn't discover this sooner and wasted all of those amazing years of my life. And now I'm trying to get the message out so other people aren't going to do that and, you know, live the rest of my life feeling like a 20-year-old. I don't know what I look like. I am 50 though, but I certainly don't feel like it. That's for sure.
I feel like I could go back in the Army right now and be a better soldier than I was when I left. And I think when I left, I was planning to stay longer, but during the workup to a mobilization, I just checked out. I'm like, mentally and physically, I'm done. I have my 20-year letter, so I popped smoke, and that means I left. I'm like, I was like, I'm done. But I think if I would have had this, I would have stayed in. I would not have left, and I would have had a better career. I know 100% better career. How about you, John?
Go ahead.
Oh, go ahead.
No,
Anthony, you had something to throw in?
Well, I work with a bunch of 24, 25-year-olds, and I run circles around them. And it's not because I'm in shape or better shape. They're eating, you know, they're like, we have this little donut franchise in Canada, Tim Hortons, and they're eating these Tim Hortons snacks.
I know Tim Hortons, great hockey player.
Yes, he was. And it's that I just look and go, it's unbelievable. Like the difference in the energy, the difference in the will to work. It's unbelievable. They can't go 2.5 hours without going, I need to eat. I'm hungry. Oh my God. It's unreal.
What do you say, John?
So, 3 days. It's hardcore. Wow. Yeah. The poor guy.
My son did it. My son did it. He made it. He's still carnivore. So my 14, I'm seeing Minimalist has his 14-year-old. I'll talk to you about that because my son went and he took 2 miles off his PR on 2 minutes off his 2-mile PR. And he's actually starting to place races. I mean, he has lost 10 pounds and is way faster in soccer and running and has much more energy. So it works. And he's 14. So go ahead, John.
So my thoughts on it are this. I mean, this younger age, and you know, I don't think there's a lot of younger age in this chat, so they're probably not going to offend too many people when I say this, but they don't want to work. And I think about it, I'm like, maybe if these guys actually had a good, healthy diet, maybe that would have changed some of their work ethics, because this generation, just doesn't want to work. And I mean, 3 days. I mean, he gave it a whole 3 days. Oh, there's the wife moving through.
Sorry.
I mean, he probably gave his, he would have gave a game on his Xbox at least a week before he decided to switch off to something else. But he gave the carnivore diet 3 days and then made a video about it. That's
and about how bad the diet is. He doesn't even know.
Yeah. I mean, you didn't even know. I mean, 3 days that would be
like a guy going into basic in the military.
I guess I could say I was vegetarian once, because I made it 3 days, eating only vegetables.
I'm a vegetarian right now because I'm fasting. Like what? I'm a vegan.
It would be like a guy going into the army in basic training and dropping out in 3 days and talking about how bad the army is. They have no clue.
Still be at the map station.
Yeah. Or it'd be like saying that I'm a Marine after I've been in for 3 days, and I got kicked out. Yeah.
You're not. Yeah.
You're not. You don't even know what you're talking about.
Minimalist is 60. Yeah, he doesn't look it. You can see his videos. He is young looking guy. So Dave Saunier is 62, and he's doing the 100-mile bike rides. This guy's a stud.
Awesome.
Let's see. Eating this way since 15. Charger Mopar has been doing it for a long time. Dave Saunier said pop smoke, LOL. Yeah, so in the Army, when we pop smoke, it means we're retreating. It's a smoke screen. And I was chemical when I started, so I actually did pop smoke, which Chemical Corps does smoke screens in the Army, like when we do river crossings and stuff. Let's see. SoCal Surfer, man, I wish I could make the change and make it stick. Okay, so the secret behind making the change and making it stick is having a big enough why. If you're quitting, then your why isn't big enough. And the why can't be losing 18 pounds. It's got to be a big why, man. And if you don't have one, I actually have a planning guide on my website that helps you find a why. I think I've shared it with some of you guys, not all of you yet, but it helps you set your why and then set goals to get to the why and then set actions to become your daily habits. And that's how you get to a why. It's a military planning stuff that I did. I was a plans officer in division, so I did a lot of that junk. But anyway, so some people's minds work that way, some don't, but you definitely need to identify a really big why that you won't quit on. And that's what you have to do.
So the question is, what's your vision? What do you vision the end to be? Your why. What the why is always a great question, but what's your vision for the end? Is it you want to be healthy? You want to lose the weight? You want to get the six-pack abs? You want to get muscular? I mean, what is your ultimate vision? And then keep that as your end goal. Have your why and have your end, so that you're getting the two together.
And like from what I found too, a lot of people that I've been sort of guiding now, don't wait till you're desperate, because that's what eventually this standard, like I wish I knew this back 10, 20 years ago. Like the amount of horribleness in the American, Canadian, Australian standard diet, it's only going to lead you somewhere where you're going to be desperate, and then you're going to have to do something about it. And that's
absolutely.
All right, KD, 90 days in, weight down, off all meds, nice. Great, but went on a week-long off plan to be back-to-back events that I didn't prepare for. Okay, so planning is huge. Yeah, if you're gonna be going to holidays coming up, eat before you go, that kind of stuff, so you're not hungry and tempted. Amazing how fast the pain came back. The IBS, bloat, fatigue, bad mood. Yeah. For sure, I get it. I mean, I haven't done it yet. I haven't gone off plan, but I can totally guess that's what would happen. Judging on how fast I transitioned to be healthy, I imagine you transition back just as easily, right?
I think everybody's a little different with that one, because I think the sugar addiction and like that stuff, some people, it's deep, and I mean, some people probably never ever get over it. I mean, the sugar addiction is a real thing, and it's when you kind of get off track, it can haunt you pretty good. I think.
I mean, look at that. She's off all meds, man.
That's amazing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what meds they were, but still, when you get off the meds, I mean, you know you're on the right track. And when you go off, I'm sure you probably, that's disappointing. But here's the deal: that's where you build resilience, right? That's where you get back up on that horse, like you never.
And you'll learn, right?
And you learn your weaknesses.
This makes you stronger because now you know, like it's that thing, man. Is it worth it? And now you know what can happen. It can happen fast.
You learn your weaknesses and you know what caused that. So to go back and analyze, like why did I fail back then, and what can I do to prevent that in the future? Maybe it's bringing your own food, or maybe eating before you go, whatever it is. But planning ahead for sure.
Hey, Larry.
Yeah,
hey, Larry. At 9:14, there's a short girl. A former fat girl, saying hi.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
nice.
What's up, former fat girl? We call her short girl.
How's it going?
She's cussing me out right now. That's how it's going.
Oh, nice. Let's see. Kay, did you learn from this? That's the big thing. Yeah, you have to learn from it, and that's part of being a carnivore too. Is it's a skill set of becoming a carnivore, learning your body, becoming the subject matter expert, learning your limitations and weaknesses, and building up proper, barriers to protect yourself. And that's what you have to kind of do. Let's see. Anyone else want to chime in on that?
Oh, I think I tell people all the time, like it's, you fall off the horse. What did you learn? Because you know what? That's the big thing. If you're going to have some kind of sugar binge or some kind of cheat and you don't feel as good, you better be learning. And if you can take that as a win in the grand scheme of things to get you more motivated, that's amazing.
Yep. After a couple of days off plan, pains really do come back. Yep. Lost 20 kilograms since mid-February. Not record breaking, but I'm an old girl. That's great though. I mean, you're trending the right direction, right? So you get back on the plan and you know the plan works and you work the plan.
And a lot of times I think too, is like we have decades of not doing this. Decades. Like, the amount of deprogramming that is being done, it's, it's everybody's going to have a little bit more, can be a little bit more extreme for sure, but decades of unawareness, not being on the plan.
And you have to remove the inflammation of your body for quite a while for all the things to start healing. Like my ankle, let's see, I'm over 200 days in, I think now, and my ankle is finally healed up. But for the first 3 months, I thought it would heal up in 90 days. I was like, oh, I'm going to start running in 90 days. And I looked at my ankle, like it's swollen still. It's like that egg knot that I have a knot on it. And I'm like, that's not. And now I look at it and I went running, did that mile, and it's fine. But it took over 200 days to get there. So, I mean, you just don't know. Your body's going to start healing at its own rate,
and
whatever it is.
There's also a lot of stuff in the space too about like moderators and abstainers. I think it's a lot to do with what kind of,
I'm an abstainer. I can't moderate.
Yeah, I try to moderate and then it just come crashing back down to earth.
I also cannot moderate.
Yeah. If I got a bag of Oreos and a glass of milk, I'm going to eat like almost all the Oreos. I mean, I'm going to eat till I can't eat anymore. And then and if I get a pizza, I'm going to try to eat the whole pizza. I mean, I just can't do that.
I think like a really cool, shining moment is when you can actually go through the grocery store, and I can walk now through the bread section. I can walk through all the cakes and stuff. And it's almost like this thing just dwindles after time. But, at first it was like, oh, now I don't even care. Like it doesn't even, and this is, I guess 2.5 years in, this is something I've noticed in the last little while. It just doesn't bother me anymore at all.
Doesn't register as food.
The smell of bread, it smells good, but it doesn't make me want it.
All right. Triple bypass 250 and have been for years, cycling 5,000 a year and surf. Damn sugar crap foods. Yeah, you shouldn't be 250 if you're doing all that, I assume. Take one bite. It's like an alcoholic. It is. It's exactly like an alcoholic. In fact, it may be even more addictive than
I
alcohol.
would say, like for sure.
It's very difficult. I have an easier time not drinking than I do, if I was on sugar. Because I could stop drinking, and I did many times while I still ate the other stuff. But okay, Minimalist says he gives people a ton of grace on eating the way they used to. It's hard to break old habits. That's true. And that's kind of like my planning thing that helps them is you set those actions that if you do actions every day, they start becoming habits, and the habits change your character. So that is it takes time and work. It's not something you can just build. And same with being resilient. You know, you can't read about being resilient. You have to actually experience getting knocked down and getting back up and learning and getting knocked down and getting back up. And that's part of the process. So
for sure.
Addiction sucks. 60 years old. Yeah, it does. And it's super strong. SoCal Surfer 69, great job. Cyclist here myself. Yep, Dave Saunier is a long-term cyclist. Minimalist. I know back almost 4 years ago, looking back today, eating bad is not going to be much in the long run. You have to learn from it. Yeah. Okay. Oreos and pizza are disgusting. I didn't think so. And
wow.
I like Oreos and pizza, and I'm not going to eat them because I know they're poison, but I do like them.
And that's another point you just made, Larry, too. Like, I mean, once you start realizing that it's poison, that changes a lot of in your brain. Like that, when you when you find out how bad these seed oils and vegetable oils, and the most amazing thing is there's still arguments about how good they are out there, which is unbelievable. But you know, and that can be a pretty good motivator when you realize it's poison.
Yeah, me too. Good morning, all. Cast Iron Carnivore, how's it going? Good morning. Good morning. Where are you from? Must be Australia or something. Be morning. KD, realize I have healing to do. Thought I had a lick. 60 years sad. 10 miles in the woods, 10 miles out. Okay. Yeah, you just got to learn from your behavior and learn from your failures, and you'll figure it out. I mean, just keep driving. Don't beat yourself up. Just figure out what went wrong and figure it out. Let's see. One of the actions you mentioned, Larry, yes, big time. You have to be accountable to yourself and learn from your mistakes. Yeah, that's what it is. So everyone makes mistakes in every aspect of life, relationships, work, whatever. Just be accountable. Say, okay, that was a mistake. Identify it and figure out what caused it. Do root cause analysis kind of, and you don't have to be all engineering and stuff like I am, but figure it out. This is what happened and this triggered it. And I don't want that to happen again, so I'm going to avoid that. What do you think, John? You got any triggers that you have to build barriers around or anything?
Not really. I'm a moderator. I can.
Are you?
I could eat something today and be completely fine tomorrow. But there are things that I've ate that have caused me, issues. So I'm going to have to be watching. Like we went to Gatlinburg last weekend, and we went and were taste sampling some wine, which was fine. But then they had a slushy that I drank some of, and the next day I had joint pains everywhere.
Wow.
And I put that to the sugar and stuff that was in that slushy.
Oh yeah.
But it took 2 days for it to clear up. So
wow.
It's just it all comes down to the person. The thing I think about me, when I look back at it, is I didn't consume a lot of sugar intentionally. There's a lot of sugar that you consume unintentionally that's in a lot of foods out there. But I wasn't a big sugar person in the first place. So when I went carnivore, it wasn't as huge of a step for me as some people who might be consuming a lot more carbohydrates, sugars, or be addicted to them. I wasn't binging on sugar, even before I started the diet. So it was, I didn't, even like candy and stuff, I just never really had a desire to eat a lot of it.
That's my son. He's a moderator. He'd go trick-or-treating, and then I'd end up throwing almost all his candy away because it'd be in his room. He wouldn't eat it. And he'd just eat like a couple pieces. So I'm not that guy. I would eat that all up as fast as I could. Okay. Dry mouth. Anyone have dry mouth on this? Sometimes I go where I need more water than others. I guess I have a little bit of a dry mouth, but not all the time. It depends where you're at. If you're just starting, I don't know if you've been doing this for a
Maybe
while.
that to be honest with you, that looks like it could be some kind of mineral thing too, right? Like if you're drinking that much water and you're not.
It could be
right
salt. It could be minerals.
Maybe add salt. Drink more salt. But yeah, you might have to tweak your body a little bit in your diet just to see if adding minerals might help, or maybe an element tea or something. One of those things.
Mineral water. Spring water. Don't get the purified water if you buy bottled water. Get some mineral water. And then also remember that sometimes we're just in such a habit of putting food or drink into our mouth that becomes this habit that you end up, I have to do something, so sometimes that leads to you drinking a excessive amount of water. But a gallon of water a day, I drink a gallon of water a day. Throughout the day, I will definitely consume a lot of water because that's all I drink other than my coffee in the morning. I don't view that as an excessive amount at a gallon. Now, if you're drinking gallons, that would be something.
So Cast Iron Carnivore is watching from England. It's 2:21 a.m. I have to check that. Cast Iron Carnivore, are you a YouTuber as well? Do you make content, or are you just a viewer? I'm curious. Let me know. I think you're a YouTuber. I think I've seen your channel, but I'm not sure. Okay, Dave Saunier, keto breath. I didn't really get it bad. I think I got it worse on keto than I did on carnivore. I don't think in carnivore I got it. Did you guys experience it?
No, I think I felt like acetone a couple times when I was doing a like pretty deep keto, but I didn't really get bothered by it.
So
I don't even know what it would be because I never had anything like that.
Looks like Cabby had a dry mouth for 60 to 90 days into carnivore, last few weeks and went away. So maybe it's normal. Maybe sometimes. I mean, I've had days where I'm super thirsty, but I thought it was just me being active. I don't know.
It could be purified water versus mineral water, just getting some minerals and stuff in your diet.
So I drink sparkling mineral water, and I also drink still mineral water. I drink something called Liquid Death, which is from the Alps, the Austrian Alps. Yeah, and I drink Topo Chico. We have something in Texas, 1877, which is actually a Texas mineral water from a local spring. So that's not filtered, and it's going to have like a lot of minerals there. Or it is filtered, but it's going to have lots of good minerals in there.
The Topo Chico twist of lime.
Yeah,
it tastes just like a Sprite to me without the sugar.
Yeah, I just drink the regular. And then, like I was telling him, John, I don't know about you, but if you put your iodine, if you're supplementing iodine and put it into a sparkling water, you won't taste it at all. Even just plain, it doesn't taste at all, because normally it tastes pretty crappy. It does.
It tastes like iodine. Yeah.
I don't like iodine, but I put it in those drinks, and then I can drink them no problem.
Tastes just like it smells.
Channel 1 month and 2 weeks into carnivore. Oh yeah. Okay. I remember. Now I remember. Yeah. So I think actually I think we're gonna do some kind of collaboration in the future with Cast Iron. So cool. Yeah, I remember that now. All right, good deal, man.
I do a live every Sunday at 1:00 p.m., which is like 5 or 6 o'clock in England. So if you ever want to jump on the Carnivore Live, shoot me an email at carnivorebackwoods@gmail.com. And, I'll get you lined out for one of our upcoming carnivore roundtables, and we'll talk about your channel and everything that's going on.
Yep. I'm on that a lot of times. And it's a good roundtable, a lot of good discussion. So that's really all I got, guys. You guys got anything you want to talk about to close out the session? Anthony, we'll start with you. Got anything you want to share, or what's going on this week, or about your channel?
For all the new people that are just starting this stuff, man, this is real. I love meeting all you guys and actually having to talk to people that are, like-minded and, are feeling in different stages, feeling, the improvements and understanding that it does take a little bit of work, and it's real. And for all the new people, stick with it. I'm about 2.5 years in now, and I'm riding this until I don't feel good. And I'm telling you, it's almost like I'm feeling better and better every day. So, thanks for having me on, Larry. Nice to meet you, John and Kat. And get inspired by everybody that in this community, because you know what? It's really nice to see people getting better and healthier, for sure.
Kat, closing thoughts? Anything you want to share?
Just thanks again for having me on. It was really nice meeting all y'all. And again, as a new carnivore, my best advice is for those people who are struggling, just keep trying. I always say you're not a failure until you quit trying. So just keep working at it. I promise that once you get past that hard part, or the 3 days for that one guy, the way that you're going to feel is going to be all the motivation that you need. I personally never want to go back to feeling the way that I did. And this community, this carnivore community, it's amazing. It's such a welcoming and just really it's just a wonderful community, and everybody is so supportive, and like Larry showing new channels and everything. I just think that it's really awesome. And I don't know. I just thank you all. I really appreciate it.
Cool. John, closing thoughts?
Closing thoughts. Make sure you go over and like and subscribe to each one of these channels if you're not already. When you jump out of here, make sure you run over and like and subscribe to these channels, because every bit of that helps these guys get their word out. It helps us get the word out about carnivore to a bigger audience. And we need to get the algorithm to realize that carnivore is bigger than anything out there. And so it will push it out to even a bigger group. So definitely do that. A couple big things going on for me this week, or over the next 2 weeks for that matter. Let's see, Sunday, and Larry, you're on this Sunday, aren't you? Yes.
I think so.
Yeah, I believe you are. Dr. Tony Hampton. Yeah, you're on it. Dr. Tony Hampton is going to be on our Carnivore Roundtable live stream at 1:00 on PM Eastern. And we'll be streaming that off my channel, Larry's channel, Dr. Hampton's channel. I think JT is going to be there, and Brian with Wick Goes Carnivore in the Poca Moonshine. So definitely check out those. We also stream it on our Facebook channels and a bunch of other places, so that you got definitely a lot of places you can watch. If you got questions for Dr. Hampton, let us know. Reach out to the streams that you follow the most, and ask the questions now. Ask the questions now, and that way we can make notes of it. We'll ask those questions, on Sunday at the top of the live stream. Now, with that said, I have an interview with Carnivore Kip Sunday evening. That should be really entertaining. Carnivore Kip's a great guy, and so I'm sure me and him will be cutting up and having a good time together. So, definitely come out and check that. Yeah. And then the following week on the 21st, I'm going to a meetup here locally with Dr. Wiedemann and some other carnivores here in the Knoxville area. So that's gonna be fun to go do. We're gonna have that going on, and I'll try to do some videos or something to back up off that. And then the 22nd, Carnivore Roundtable, 1 p.m. I'm having Dr. Robert Kiltz on the Carnivore. And so that's, he's going to be there to answer questions. He's a carnivore doctor. He's a fertility doctor. He's an amazing guy. You get up at 5 o'clock in the morning. He's got the Kiltz Power Hour. It's like 1 hour of just like amazing energy. So, anyways, Dr. Kiltz will be there. Help spread the word, spread our message, share our videos out, share our links out. And like I said, reach out to, Intentional Carnivore, or reach out to Carnivore Soldier or Wick Goes Carnivore, or reach out to the JT at Poca Moonshine or myself. If you got some questions you want to ask in advance, we'll put those together, and we'll be ready to ask those questions of the doctor on the live stream. And it should be a good time. So I hope to see everybody there. And like I said, share it to all your social media, share it to your friends, your family, anybody that's ever got a question about carnivore. Now's the time to get them on the channels.
Yeah, I love his ice cream. That's all I got to say. Dr. Kiltz.
I
make his ice cream.
I like his ice cream, but I like it better if it's ketovore.
Okay. All right. I'm going to drop you guys out. Stick around for a minute, and I'm going to say goodbye to the crowd here. All right, guys. All I got to say is stay strong and overcome. Carnivore Soldier out.